I'm delighted today to be joined by Neil Milliken. He featured recently on our Who's Who in Digital Experience reports. Hi, Neil. How are you?
I'm fine, very well, thank you.
Fantastic. Could you just start by telling us a little bit about yourself, please, Neil?
Yeah, sure. So I'm globally responsible for accessibility and digital inclusion for Atos Group.
Fantastic. That sounds like a really interesting job. So within your job at the moment, what are the key topics that you're currently focused on?
Obviously, accessibility is my key topic. Digital inclusion is my key topic. So I work within the corporate social responsibility team, but I also have a separate hat, which is delivering services for our clients around inclusiveness. So it's looking at how we make technology work for everyone, including people with disabilities and including people that may be excluded situationally. That's a wide and varied topic, but of course that sits squarely with people's experience of tech.
Okay, fantastic. All right, I just wanted to spend a little bit of time talking you through a report that you featured in recently. Did you see this report that we mentioned you in on digital experience? Okay, fantastic. And what did you think of the report in general? Did you have any feedback on it?
No, it's good, and I recognise some of the people in there. I think that it's good to see not just me, but a couple of other people that I know that are focused on accessibility and inclusion as part of the sort of user experience piece in the report.
Fantastic. Oh, that's really good feedback. Thanks for that. The other thing I wanted to just quickly show you is your profile in the Analytica platform. So this is what brands who use our software will see. As you can see here, we've got your bio as it appears on Twitter. We've categorized you as an entrepreneur, and your persona is event speaker, professional influencer, and industry practitioner. Does that sound about right to you?
Yeah, I mean, without knowing what your other personas are, I mean, I do all of those things.
Okay, fantastic. So just a little bit more about your profile. So here we can see your audience size and your engagement and authority scores. A bit further down, we have some insights into your posting activity on Twitter and LinkedIn. You can see how many posts per month you create and your average engagement per post, and then your audience size on those two platforms as well. We also have your most engaged network here. So these are the people you're interacting with the most online, and some of your thought leadership content topics as well. So we have you down talking about coronavirus, AI, mental health, IoT, finance, smart cities, robotics, and the future of work. And in terms of your audience here, we can see that you're mostly engaged with senior management and tech professionals and C-suite executives in technology industry primarily. In terms of the brands you mentioned Atos, also Google, Apple, BBC, and Salesforce have been mentioned in the last 180 days. So if we look here on the content tab, you can see some of the keywords that you're using in your posts and some of the hashtags as well. The other thing we can do is look at your LinkedIn stats. So these are your post frequency per month, post reactions, average reactions per post. And this is how you perform compared to the professional influencer benchmarks that we've set. Some of the key topic trends that you mentioned, what in the next 5 years, are there any trends that you think people need to be aware of that are coming out?
Well, I think that we've seen a massive increase in the focus on sustainability, but people's understanding of what sustainability means is going to change. I think that the Sustainable Development Goals are going to become better known, better understood, and people are going to start wanting to learn more about the SDGs because we see responsible investing becoming much more important. Atos, the organization that I work for, has, being French, we call raison d'etre or sense of purpose, and that's voted on by our shareholders. So these kind of things go beyond just the environmental impact, and that's going to be huge in itself, right? Because decarbonisation is super important. We're committed to being net zero by 2028. That's a huge thing, and we're doing that for our partners as well. So we're going to be talking about that a lot, and we're not the only company talking about that. That's going to be a global trend, right? Yeah. And so there's going to be an awful lot about not just the sort of greenwashing, but how do you actually achieve it? You know, how do you share best practices? How do organizations work collaboratively together? And there's been a lot of talk about the future of work and collaboration, but it's been about how do you work on teams, but it's not been about necessarily cross industry collaboration, the porosity between organizations, and we have these really, really significant global problems, and we need to solve them, and we can't do that by working in silos. So that kind of stuff is what's hot, and it's going to get hotter along with our climate. So we need to be, we need to be doing that. And I think that we're going to see an awful lot more talk about that, an awful lot more people really engaging on that. And I think some of those are super hot topics.
Absolutely, yeah. So in terms of some of the innovative companies around the sustainability goals, are there any companies that you would say are really pushing boundaries and being really innovative in those areas at the moment?
Well, I'll fly my own company's flag shortly, but I mean, I think that we work with some partners like small startups, and we have an accelerator program, and one of those is called Green Spectre, and they help you understand the energy usage of your software and your applications and stuff like that. So really, you can build up a picture of what your IT carbon footprint is. We're looking at things like eco branding. There'll be more about this shortly, but we'll be launching our eco brand, which will have a positive impact on our carbon footprint as an organization of 110,000 plus users. So there's innovation in these kind of things where I think, it's not just about novelty, it's about actually what problem are you solving. I'm more interested in how do we resolve the large problems. And I think that there are organizations that are thinking about this a lot. Again, large organizations, slow to move sometimes, but what we've seen in the last 12 months with COVID driving the digital transformation of work, Microsoft have really adapted quickly and really developed their products. It's not to say that they're perfect. Lots of other companies have too. Salesforce have acquired Slack, and there are all of these kind of moves. But I think that the rapid acceleration and proliferation and features within the online tools that we're now using to work from home has been really significant there, and that has also included accessibility features. So one of the really key things that the companies are doing now, and I think that COVID has brought to the fore, has been the fact that people are opening up to their challenges, that you maybe didn't come out about your disability or your impairment before, because you were in an informal work situation where you could maybe ask your colleague to help you with something because they were right by you. Now, when you're isolated and at home and you're having to do everything online, then you have to. So there's been a driver for people for asking for inclusive features and asking for accommodations, and that's woken up management in lots of organizations. Because it's not just in my own, because we serve other organizations with IT, that we can see this too. What we're seeing now is that being built into the fabric of the technology around us. Plus, we now have no excuses as managers and HR people and senior leaders to say, no, you can't work from home. It's impossible to work remotely. You can't be flexible, because we've all been doing it for the last year.
Okay, just moving on then, I wanted to ask you, who are some of the influencers that you follow at the moment? Who would you say influences you?
So there are, and so people like Dion Hinchcliffe, I like to listen to what he's got to say. Jared Spool, Matt Stoller, who is someone that writes and tweets about monopolies. Other people that I really admire, Mei Lin Fung from People Centered Internet. Lainey Feingold, super interesting because she's a legal person specializing in not suing people. Caroline Casey, who started the Valuable 500. So I'm looking to find people that bring people together on a topic.
Wow, sounds like a really interesting network. Well, it's been really fun chatting to you. Thank you so much, Neil. Unfortunately, we're running out of time. So I just wanted to ask one last question. So say I was a brand, what would be the best way for me to get in touch with you?
I'm always on Twitter.
Okay, fantastic. Well, that's brilliant. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Neil. Thank you so much for taking the time today to chat to us.
You're welcome.